So yesterday I was talking about how our dear leader here in the UK is actually a Dalek.
If you incite racist violence and hatred, that is not expressing concern.
But if you incite racist violence and hatred, is that not a Dalek, motherfucker? But you know, I'm not the only one who has put two and two together and made this realization that our dear leader is a Dalek. Starmer the Dalek. Starlek. There's like a whole social media phenomenon that I wasn't aware of until I searched for it, making that video. Like this, check this one out.
Exterminate! 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 You must obey! Obey Starmer!
The time has come for Starmageddon. I'm going to raise your taxes. I am going to raise your blood pressure. And I am going to raise England to the ground. Any dissenters will be exterminated. Any questions?
What consequences?
Exterminate!
Now, how do you see it? Is our dear leader not a Dalek? We need to raise awareness across the globe and get this trending. Starlek. Hashtag Starlek. And you know what? He is so authoritarian that I look back fondly on Boris Johnson and I actually miss Boris. I mean, at least Boris was fun, right? Do you remember when he was dangling from a crane? At least he entertained us, right? He was kind of cute almost. He was actually. Boris Johnson is a cute creature. And I know he didn't, some of the things he did really sucked. But, you know, especially COVID, right? But that wasn't his doing. We actually got off quite lightly here in the UK because of Boris. We didn't go nearly as hard as Biden and Trudeau and pretty much the rest of the world, you know? Because that was a global psyop that Boris actually wasn't that bought into. And you remember that hilarious Nicki Minaj-Boris Johnson collab? Remember when Boris dropped Nicki Minaj's name in one of his speeches? Remember when she talked about her cousin who became impotent after getting the jibby jab? And then Nicki responded, Boris, people don't realise that I am actually British. I went to Oxford University. Oh, and then she said, if you speak on it, they destroy you. And then nobody ever speak on it again. And it made me fall in love with Nicki Minaj a little bit too. Because I wasn't really aware of her before that. Like, I knew she existed, but I never paid any attention to her. You know, like, I wasn't conscious of her wet-ass pussy before that. And that was sometime after Boris announced that he'd gone to the COVID ward and shook everybody's hand. That's what I would have done too, though. Because the best thing for your immune system when there's a flu going around is to catch it, right? Catch it early. Yeah, you remember when Dr. Fauci said it? You remember Fauci, the sexiest man alive?
She's had the flu for 14 days. Should she get a flu shot?
Well, no. If she got the flu for 14 days, she's as protected as anybody can be, because the best vaccination is to get infected yourself.
And
So
she should not get it?
if she really has the flu, she definitely doesn't need a flu vaccine. If she really has the flu,
She should not get it again?
no,
this
she
year?
doesn't need it, because it's the most potent vaccination is getting infected yourself.
But he's right, though. Do you remember the days when we had chicken pox parties? I remember when I got chicken pox and my whole school had it. It was so much fun. We were all off school at the same time. And I think I may have had whatever they were labeling as COVID. You know that PCR test that picked up like 1 million things, which I didn't take, so I don't know for sure if it was COVID. But yeah, I never took one PCR test. I mean, even the manufacturers in China said it was bogus. It cost them like half a cent to make that test. Do you remember all those videos in China of people testing kiwi fruits and shit like that, and they were all coming out positive? And here in the UK, school kids learned that if you put lemon juice on your PCR test, you get a positive result, so you can skip school. I mean, have you seen all the other plastic junk these factories put out that isn't fit for purpose? How is it that they suddenly be able to make something that works? And do you remember those videos of those factories in India where they made the masks? And they'd end up in a huge pile on the filthy factory floor before they bagged them and sent them to libtards. And right now, as I speak, in certain counties in California, apparently the masks are back. Some of whom, I'm sure, are people who've realized that they can look attractive once again if they cover up half their face. You know, like these Antifa lot.
Do you notice something? They all look fucking unhealthy. They look inbred. I mean, am I wrong? Look at... It's disgusting. No wonder they wear masks.
But yeah, back to Boris Johnson. Because people are now suddenly talking about COVID again for some weird reason. And I saw something circulating about how Boris really didn't do very well with COVID because he was so fat. Like 9 out of 10 people who wound up in hospital were morbidly obese. And they would have been in hospital anyway. And meanwhile, the media was saying stay at home, don't exercise and eat more junk food and get fatter. Because they needed those numbers. The hospitals were like so empty, weren't they? Oh my God, what am I doing going down this rabbit hole? How did I get here? I was meant to be talking about Kier Starmer, the Dalek. Starlek. But yeah, I remember how I got to this. Don't you just miss Boris Johnson? Wouldn't you just have Boris back in a flash if we could trade in Starlek for Boris?